Hi, this is Menia from the future, and today I'm going to be showing how to turn this image into this one. Look at that. Oh look, somebody stole the trash can. People these days. Well, this video is going to be really long because it's not a tutorial per se, it's my actual process. You'll be seeing all the steps I'm taking and all the problems I run into and all the solutions I come up with. For your convenience, it has been split into sections, so if you're interested in something particular, feel free to just select that section. I'll be covering actual creation of this object, processing of the photo, compositing, HDRIs, stuff like that. So I hope it's not too boring, and I hope you learn something new, and I hope you enjoy it. Have fun! Hi everyone, this is Menia, and today I decided to take you through my creative process. I hope that certain things will be interesting for you, maybe not. I will be using Photoshop, I will be using Blender, a lot of things to cover. So let's get started. Actually, let's kick things off with just showing what I'm doing. Right, so if we go here and we'll see a collection called Perfection and Perfections, New Menia's Perfections. And the whole idea of those collections is to place three-dimensional primitives within the real world. So how exactly do we do this? Well, there are a lot of steps involved, and starting from the photo itself. So how do we take a photo that's going to be interesting in this context? Well, it's actually kind of tricky. It's tricky even though I knew how I wanted to do this, but yeah, it is tricky. So you have to kind of imagine the object you want to show, which is not as easy as you think. Of course, because we have all those reflections, we actually do want to have something around the object, something interesting. So today I decided, well, I have a lot of photos. Like, I don't know, this one. What else? Well, this one is the same, it's just another angle. I mean, the same as the first one, right? But I am going to have this one. And of course, I'm going to place the object right here into the gazebo, I guess? I don't know what the thing is. That looks really weird. Maybe it was a gazebo. Maybe it's a kind of destroyed gazebo, which makes it even sadder. And this is because we have all those pillars, and they will be reflecting in the object. So that would be nice, I guess. So let's start off by just opening the image right in the Photoshop. All right, load it up. Yeah, I've made some basic corrections, but I'm not going to do anything extreme at this moment because we have to composite the object back into the scene, and it's just not worth it to, grade the whole thing at this point. So I just did some really basic correction, and the important thing is geometry. If you take any classical painting, for instance, all the vertical lines will be exactly vertical. And this is important. This is something you want to do. This is what looks really amateurish. Unless you're going for something, artistic, like you have an extremely wide angle lens, for instance, and you want to kind of show this. Otherwise, just fix it. Yeah, nice. Love it. Also, it's high time we do the profile correction for, my profile just showed up. That's good enough. So let's open it up. Of course, I'm using Camera Raw because I was shooting in RAW. You can actually open JPEGs in the very same way. It's just that you have to go to Open and choose, what the hell is it? Camera Raw. Yeah, so you can pick any image at this point, and it will still open it in Camera Raw. You can actually make Photoshop open in camera raw all the time, but that's out of scope of this tutorial. So anyway, so we have this image and it's looking good. It's looking all right. So let's export it and I'll see you on the dock side. What do we do with this? How do we create a three-dimensional scene out of it? Well, this is the second part. We are going to use fSpy. fSpy is a free program, and it does exactly that. It creates a three-dimensional geometry for you. So it has two modes, vanishing point, one vanishing point or two. Well, vanishing point is, the point that where the perspective kind of, what's the word, converges. And so we actually have two vanishing points here because, we have this point here and this point here where we have, and if we imagine imaginary parallel lines, if we have this gazebo and it just, goes there, actually, let me undim it, it makes no sense. Then we have it somewhere there. And the same goes for the vanishing point this way. We just don't see it. It's off the image plane, but it's still there. So I'm going to dim the image. Now I know why they made this thing with this, checkbox. I never could understand. I was like, why would you want to dim an image? Now I know. It makes much more sense now. Wait, can I actually zoom in somehow? Good question. Can I freaking zoom in? It doesn't seem to want me to do this. Anyway. So you have to pick certain lines, and it's actually really good to think about it while you're shooting, because otherwise you have to guess. And this is annoying. Okay, so we have this sort of... no, that looks wrong. No, this looks wrong as well. What? Where the hell is it? Oh, there is actually. Right. So we have the plane, and we can actually try to bring this grid so that we can see if it makes sense. It kind of does. I like it, but we can tweak it a little bit just so that it looks correct. There's even there's a focal that's totally a 35 mil. Focal length is 15, and I think this is wrong. Actually, our focal length was 32 mil. So we have to do something so that it kind of fits. So play around with those guides until it actually is 32. Let's see if we can do this, because maybe it's just the point that is wrong, and that's annoying. So no, that looks off to me. Really, it does. It just doesn't make sense. We'll see where we get. Well, I mean, obviously the builders of Gazebo, unless they were blindly drunk, they probably did a good job creating a square, which is really helpful in this case. And but still, we're getting a value of 17 millimeters, which is too few, and I really don't know why. Well, that starts to make more sense. Let's see. Yeah, it may get, it may require some trial and error. It's all right. If you don't get it right the first time, just try again. And obviously, yeah, that looks much more like what we expect to have. And magically, the focal length now gets really close to what we want. Nah. That doesn't look right. Okay. Yeah, I think that of course we don't, there's no point really to get it absolutely right. There's little point in this. If you look at the image, there's little to actually suggest where the image is. It's not like you have to reconstruct a wall or something. It's not that case. All right, so we save the project. It's high time we actually do this, and we go to new media perfections and just save it. I'll call it Perth 3. Nice. So we open Blender now, and we have to have an add-on. I think it comes just comes with fSpy. And guess what? It's called exactly fSpy, import fSpy project. There it is. All right, so what we need to do now is to import the fSpy project. Let's freaking do this. Nice. And yeah, that looks awesome. Actually, I might just, leave it as is. No, I'm kidding. So the cube is 2 meters, and I think we need to push it somehow. Let's just, no, this way. And I think it looks all right. It actually does. We just have to, kind of find the place where it belongs. Something like this, I think, does it to me. Now, I always wanted to, you know what, though, the z-axis just is off. That looks bad. No, I'm not going to let it, do it this way. It's just bad. Oh, God. That's why I want your verticals, huh? Let me check it quickly. Actually, I'll just check it with guides. Yeah, it's back and forth process. It is. You have to get it right. Ah, I see. Actually, wow. That thing. It's so bad. You see, like those guides, that's vertical. That's vertical. You can tell by the perforation. So I don't know what it. And this is also vertical. And that one, it's just it's just like goes like this. It's actually funny because that gazebo stands at the building university, construction university, I must say, campus. And so this is how they build stuff, I guess. Construct. So that's actually almost what it looks like, which is hilarious. All right. Now, yeah, it look at that. It is actually it is just copying the reality. That's hilarious. All right. All right. As much as I'm enjoying it, we have to move on. What I could do is I could maybe fix it so that it doesn't look like my error. But you know what? At this point, I think it's just, we have to just move on. It's going to be all right, I guess. All right. So the next thing we do is we have to light it up because now if we go to render view, this is what it looks like. Actually, if you don't know how to use Blender, I mean, I could tell you that, you press G and that moves the object, and you press Shift Z and then you move the object anywhere but the Z axis. Yeah, I could do that totally, but honestly, you just better off watching the Donut tutorial by Blender Guru. Just watch it and you'll quickly get a grasp of it. Like it will take literally like half a day of watching before you can actually do things in Blender. It helped me a lot, and I really started to use it properly. So I'll skip over some parts, but certain parts are slightly more advanced, and I'll cover them. So we have to light this thing up. So if we go to actually, I always wanted to do a cube, because I did a sphere and I did a torus, and a cube is so basic that I didn't even delete it. Like normally you just delete the default cube in Blender or any 3D software for that matter. But I even didn't do this. I'll try hard to make this a cube. I think the cube deserves a highlight, because it is the default. All right, so we have to, if we switch to cycles, which is another renderer, and we switch to render view, well, you can see that, well, it looks nothing like an object that should be standing there in the gazebo. I'll call it a gazebo. I like it. So if we delete the default light, it will be even worse. So what you normally want to do is to apply an HDRI. So HDRIs are basically 360 photos of environments. Like, look at this. It's a field with the sun. And you can pick any. There are many free HDRIs on the web, but of course you won't get close to the actual environment. But with the 360 camera, you can do this rather easily. So here's my setup. It's actually really simple. It's the camera standing on the little tripod, and I just need to take several photos and then combining them into HDRI, just like these ones. So the camera has to be where the object is going to be, and roughly at the same height. Well, obviously, I know that many of you don't have a 360 camera. Just pick a random HDRI from the web and try your luck. I think you can get pretty close with it, but I'm going to go for my 360 images. So if we go to my SD card, so what we see, yeah, there they are. Actually, you know what? I actually clicked and I got I got the right file. That's cool. But as you can see, there are many of them, and some of them are darker, some of them are lighter. And that looks bad. There we are. All right, so there we have it. We have view shot on, whatever this is. I have zero clue what it does. Actually, it makes photo better, I think. And if you look at this, yeah, we have the 360 photo, but it's not enough. If we take a single photo of this, that won't do us any good, because we want the thing to light up the scene. And what we need for this is to have the whole lighting information in this. And again, the way we do this is we take as many as humanly reasonable photos of the scene with different levels of brightness, so that oh shit, I need to how the hell do I, yeah, this is pure shot, so we don't need it, obviously, because it just brightens things up. Nice, good job, pure shot, but no. So as you can see, like in this really dark image, we can actually make out those clouds, and this tiny detail, it can actually show up in our object, and this is nice. This is what we want to do, but at the same time, we really want the dark areas as well. So we, oh shit, that's just going to drive me nuts. So in this shot, we get all the leaves. This is really cool. And this one, those things are the legs of the little tripod I'm using. The other thing that is important to get right when you're shooting this, if you get a 360 camera, if you rent it out, for instance, is to get the height right, because you cannot move this really. You can slightly adjust it in Blender, but it probably will look off, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. So no, it's just so much better to do things right straight away. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to combine this into proper HDRI. Oh, that looks amazing. Thank you, Pure Shot. I really wanted that Moa thing going. Yeah. That's actually, that this can be sold as generative art. All those crazy people doing the neural art thing. All right, I just struggled with the goddamn app for too long to bother, so I decided to restart the whole thing. Okay, and this time I'll just pick the DNG only. I hope it will be easier. Passing gyro, that's cool. So it is smart. That camera is smart. That one camera. It's not that expensive. I enjoy it thoroughly. It's such a cool camera for this task. I'm not into 360 video that much. I will probably use it for some of my projects, but at this point, I think that's a gimmick, really. But the HDRI thing, it's killing it. It's just, people have been doing like HDRIs with normal DSLRs, and it's a royal pain in the butt because you have to have a special tripod basically, and you have to measure the angles for best results. And you can do this, but I was looking at this and I was like, screw it, I'm getting a 360 camera. All right, so what we have to do is, I think we have to disable Pure Shot everywhere. Pure Shot is doing a ridiculously good job, but it's not what we want. We want raw images. So this is the whole thing. Now we export it. Just click this. So automatic horizon leveling. Well, I guess won't do any harm. Actually, no, screw it. I don't want it to do anything stupid again. It's level. I know this. It's on a tripod. It's good. Now we have all those images, the HDRIs, and it would be like, imagine you would be doing this by hand. Like you have to assemble each panorama by hand. That would not be fun, I tell you. All right, so we have to import. No, it's automate, I guess. Yeah, it is. Merge to HDR Pro. That's good. Let's drag this. No, it doesn't allow me to do this. That's also annoying. Nice. So let the Photoshop do its thing. So HDRIs are weird. So you know how they say that we live in 4 dimensions, not 3? That time is an extra dimension. So HDRIs are kind of the same. So you get your normal red, green, and blue pixel values, but you also get that exposure setting, which keeps the values but just drives the brightness level up and down. And even when you click OK, it's not baked in, it's kept there, so you have all the fidelity you want. And you can see that we have all our exposure values, like -6 to +7 almost. So we have a wide exposure range, and this is exactly what we want. Right, so we have this thing. We need to now save it, and that's just as easy as clicking Save As and picking radians. And now we have HDR extension. And I'll go to parent folder and save it. Now, if we go to Blender and if we go to World, I must confess, I'm not a great Blender artist. I didn't start too long ago, and I'm still learning a lot of things. But even if you watch Blender Guru, for instance, a lot of things is just, oh, this works like this? That's amazing. And he calls himself Blender Guru, so Blender is a complex thing to learn. Don't be scared by this, but I'm just saying it's you always learn something new. Press Shift A, and I think you need to go to Environment texture it is. Yeah, baby. Now connect it to color. Well, that looks off now. That's just because I didn't put the actual image there. And it just turns purple to show that something is wrong. And instantly, you can tell our HDR is now loaded. Nice. You really ought to enable Node Wrangler. That's a thing that comes with Blender. Select this node and press Ctrl T. It's still Ctrl T on Mac for some reason. So now we have this mapping node, and what it allows us to do is to actually rotate the thing. No, that's wrong. So what we have to do is kind of combine so that we're looking the same way. I think that the best way to do this is to align the center of the image with the center of HDRI, roughly like this. And also because our horizon is bad, and I'll just quickly fix it. Again, this is, yeah, you can now tell that it is looking better. All right, so we have now something meaningful. Are we looking down slightly? I don't think so. So I think we have to match the horizon for best results. That's good for me. I mean, it's not like you have to, struggle here. Again, the illusion will work. Don't worry about this. So I'll get rid of the cube for a moment, and I'll get ourselves a sphere, and a UV sphere to be precise, and I'll shade it smooth. And I'll just show you what it does. If we go to Object, create a new material, and we'll set it to metal, fully metallic, you can already see that we're getting somewhere. Now we'll get roughness to 0, and guess what? We have our sphere reflecting the gazebo, which is exactly what we want. Of course, we need to push it somewhere there. But now the illusion works. Look at that. It's already so much better. Like, that's insane. I know how this works, and each time it's still kind of magical. Look at that. That's good. That's looking good. All right, so we go back to world, and we'll just, quickly disable this. Look at that. That looks terrible. I'll even, somehow match the world color to kind of reflect this overcast day, but it's still looking terrible. Like instantly, you get it better. Okay, let's get our cube back. And though it's a kind of plaster material now. So we switch to object again. It's kind of plaster material now, and trust me, it still is reflecting everything. It is just like that. I don't think I want to mess with shadows this much. So, oh no, that's the wrong one. So I'll just raise it slightly. We still have to make a shadow catcher, I think. But it's all right. Let me get the top view for a moment. Where the hell is... what the hell is this? Is this light? No, we don't need it. So we have our... Wait. Where's the sphere, though? There is. So we have our sphere. We have our cube. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I eyeballed it, basically. But I think that because I eyeballed it twice at nearly the same point, I think that that's correct, basically. It is. Trust me. All right, so I always wanted to have a cube there, but the problem is if you take this material, it just looks bad. And the reason why it looks bad is because there are no perfectly smooth objects in real world, and there are a couple of problems with this. First, we have really sharp edges, and because I am doing perfections and they're all about this, I'm fine with this. I'll just keep those edges really sharp. But you have to bear in mind that that's not how things look in the real world. So you are best to go and have the bevel modifier like this. No, that looks bad. So you just have some segments, and now, yeah, it's looking better. So we go shade smooth. Wow, that was cool. Wow, that actually does look good. So bevels just make object really appear more lifelike, and you don't have to make bevels that are noticeable. You just go and make them really tiny, and it still looks better. Like, look at this, you have this highlight. Actually, I have to save it at this point. Just save all the time, because Blender is bad at this. It's a great software, but it does crash. It will crash on you, and you'll lose all the work, and I'll just be warned. When you're shading smooth, it can get troublesome, because what Blender tries to do is it tries to kind of interpolate between those faces. And of course, it makes no sense, because those faces are 90 degrees apart. And you don't want that. So normally you would just make some edge cuts, and this is again beyond the scope of this tutorial. I don't want to mess around with this. But what I'll try to do is to enable auto smooth, which does exactly that. And when click this, well, nothing bad happens. That's a great thing. It looks cool, but it looks fake. That's the problem. Especially you can see on those edges, you can instantly tell that it just looks fake. So this series, Perfections, is all about placing three-dimensional primitives within real environments. And because primitives are, well, primitive, you have to add some sort of complexity to just make it look interesting. And it's a perfect way to do this is to make a complex material. So let's add a Musgrave texture. A Musgrave texture is basically spots. And this will add some imperfections to the surface, as if the surface isn't smooth, isn't perfectly smooth, isn't the perfect mirror. Like, let's try noise. Yeah, I think it's going to work better, honestly. It's just, just bring details. Yeah, I think that this is going to be better. Musgrave is all right. It's good for waves and stuff like this, but actually, you know what? We'll keep both, and we'll see which one works best, because it's already hard to tell. Again, with no Wrangler, if you want to preview anything, you just press Command-Shift. Oh, no, it's actually Control-Shift, and then you click the thing you want to preview, and you have it. That's really good. So then we have to have a bump texture, bump node, I rather should say, and we just bring it here. And what it does, it creates a fake normal map. What normal map does is that explains Blender what the surface of the object actually is. And if we bring height factor to height, actually we have height here, so it's a no-brainer what to connect here. It's factor. You can see that we have this a colorful thing happening, and if we look at the object now, at the material now, you can see that something happened, and now it is imperfect. Let's bring it all the way down, like really, and look at that. That looks cool. Isn't that gorgeous? I think it's too dark, actually. So if you look at the actual camera, it looks just way too dark. So the way, I think there is a special, yeah, it's called strength. So we just bring it up. Actually, I'll go to fSpy camera, and I will Where the hell is it? Oh, wait. No, it's not here. There it is. Yeah. So we have background images and it's half opaque. So I want to make it 100% opaque so that I can see it better. And now we can kind of tweak it. So that's sort of the same. Just don't stress too much because obviously we'll fix it in Photoshop. You know what? I think it is not in the right place at this moment. So if we turn it like this, you can tell we are reflecting this border thing. Huh? I'll just push it away. And yeah, I think that just looks more natural. And now we have to make this thing actually interesting. I think I was getting somewhere with this. I think the x-axis works nice. So we have to have some kind of contrast so that this cube stands out as the protagonist, so to speak, so that we are attracted to this point. It's a nice point as is. It's basically the rule of thirds, right? So if we split it in like 3 parts, we have this on the very left, and it's good. The composition is all right, but the cube isn't interesting. This is what I dislike. I think I'll try the sphere though. I mean, why the hell not? What do you think? I think it's rather odd that we have this sort of reflection. Maybe it is correct. So this pillar goes here, this pillar slightly there. I think we need to shift y-axis as well, and that will be good. No, that's too much. It actually breaks my brain. I'm thinking, where do I go from here? You know what? Actually, I think that if we have a shadow here, and we should, then it will be just better, plain better. So let's try to add a that pun wasn't intended, but it's good nonetheless. So it's a kind of concrete, slightly weird thing. I think that should be just good. And let's push it. Shift Z, scale it up. So the gazebo is square. So this is also a square. Let's see what size it is. It is 3 meters. Yeah, I think that's pretty close actually. And we need to make a shadow catcher. Shadow, god damn it. Shadow, god damn it. There it is. Why didn't I... Wait, if I search for it... There it is. I'm just blind, apparently. Okay. So now we have a kind of cut through, I guess. If we go here and if we enable... where was it again? I mean, you guys are probably watching and thinking, well, he's such an idiot. But I do forget those things, you know. So if we enable shadow catcher, you can see... Wait, it doesn't look right. Yeah, because, well, the cube is too far away. The sphere. Now we're getting somewhere. Look at this. We are having a shadow. So probably I pushed it too far. And I shouldn't have. Yeah, it's getting too large, but I'll just scale it down. So look at this. There's a shadow going on here. What's this though? That's sphere. What the hell is this? Where did this come from? Anyway, let's just delete it. Who cares? So now we're having a shadow here, and I think it will just look better and like instantly. That's going to be good. So back to the cube, I think. Let's try the cube though, because I don't want to make another sphere. By no means I do. G Shift Z and just pull it forward. Wait, did I miss? No, I didn't. Right. There's the cube. Incoming cube. Scale it down. G, Z. And we have the shadow. We'll use it. Eventually we will. At this point, we cannot. I mean, the new shadow catcher system it's good. It is. But at the same time, it's sort of awkward. I still cannot figure out how to use it with Photoshop to compose it somewhere outside of Blender, which I would much prefer. But we'll get there, I think. Right, so we have this shadow catcher now going on, and yeah, it just looks better. Like instantly, even though it's completely wrong. You can see that it is a wrong image, but it still looks better. It looks as if we have some kind of mirrored surface here, and we are getting a shadow here, and moreover we are getting the reflection here as well. I probably should somehow apply the texture here, the correct texture, and it will be even better. Now, how do I do this? That's the question. I think I can actually apply the same texture, the same image texture as with our HDRI. Let's try this. So I think we need to try environment texture then. Environment. I haven't done this before, so I might be completely wrong here, honestly, but it's still worth giving it a try. Wow, that doesn't look right. That looks slightly better. Does it? Yeah, that's actually what we need. Look at this. That's the floor. Okay, this is offset. We don't need the offset. We need to rotate it somehow. We need to make the perspective right, and then what we need to do is offset Y and Z. And I think we'll get there. No, not Y and Z, Y and X, of course. I think we'll get there. Basically, what I want to accomplish is to make sure that this tripod is in the very center of our plane. And then I think we can just tweak stuff until we are getting correct perspective. Also, I think we might want... Oh, wait, I skipped it altogether. We might want to scale it. Oh, wait, it looks good. It almost looks good. Look at that. Wow. We are definitely... Look at that, finally. So what I did, I used this mapping node to scale things. And I use this mapping node. I might... No, actually, no, I'm good with one. So I'll just do this all together here. So 0.4 it was. Yeah, I think we need to go somewhere. Yeah, so we need to get the perspective right. That's definitely a thing, because otherwise we'll be screwed bad. So I think that this looks about right. And then we need to just fit it so that it is where it should be. Look at that, we are getting somewhere. I'm sorry, guys, to do this in such a long and weird way, but it is really awkward. Nice. Look at this. We are almost, I mean, it's not 100% good, but I think it's perfectly valid, honestly. I have an issue with the tripod, though. I think I should have painted it out in Photoshop or something, but I haven't. So whatever. I'll just leave it as is. And if we bring the sphere now, wait, what the hell is that? It's an look at this. It's weird. It's not the HDRI I was using. Okay, I think we'll just switch to rendered view. That's so much better. So yeah, you can instantly see that we are getting the reflection. And moreover, because the thing is all aligned, now I'm pretty sure that the HDRI should be right. Because you can tell, you can tell where the plane should be and where the reflection should be. It's magic. You can actually see your scene reflected here. So if we go to world, I think we have to adjust it a little. Maybe even, just get rid of the offset altogether. Let's see where it gets us. Yeah, it wasn't needed that much, honestly. That's interesting. So what I'm trying to achieve here is to try to make the plane be in the same point as the HDRI. And this will make sure that accurately representing the image. Okay, how about I disable the glossy pass? Does it look better? Does it look worse? It definitely looks worse. What I can understand, why is this so washed out? Actually, I probably need to make this an emission thing. We are using emission shader here, and emission shader is interesting because here we have an emissive cube, just emissive shader, nothing else. We are telling Blender to not bother about any light apart from the one that this thing is emitting. So with this floor, it is exactly what we want. The world outside is lighting the scene, and we don't want this floor to be lit because it is already lit. It comes from HDR. So it's kind of double lighting if we don't do this way. And you can tell if we just raise the brightness, you can instantly tell that it's wrong. I wonder if we just make an emission shader, will it still have the shadow catcher property? Because again, this is something new. No, obviously it doesn't. It makes sense. Shadow catcher should have some kind of surface. And yeah, now you can tell that we are getting a shadow catcher and we are not getting extra light here. Because again, if you just go there, you can see it's getting brighter, which is not what we want. We want the same brightness as everything else. Okay, so here's our scene. I am starting to dig it. Yeah, we are getting somewhere. This part of the cube, just wait. That looks good to me. Though the Musgrave texture is just too strong. I want it just to slightly distort things, not like... I'll make it bigger and stronger. Yes. Maybe not that extreme, but yes. This is getting good. Now this is purely creative thing. I just need to make it so that I actually am starting to like it. And I think that this is good. Let's play with roughness though, because we probably want it to be slightly rougher. Again, perfectly shiny surfaces are rare, and it kind of looks fake. And we want it to just be slightly like this. I dig it. I tell you guys, I dig it. I think that this is good. I think that we need to bevel edges though, like slightly more, because, you know. Okay. Maybe. Wow, that looks trippy. Hey, woo. All right, I'm back on track, and the problem I had is that if you look at this, if we take the subdivision, subsurf modifier, like if we remove it, then everything kind of looks correct. But I know for a fact, like if you go there, you can tell that the shading is weird. Like, look at this. Look at this edge. It shouldn't be doing this in real life, and unless it has some anisotropy or something. So that looks off. That's because we don't have much geometry here. Like if we go to wireframe, you can see that the bevel modifier there is as geometry, but the rest is just a huge plane. Which is why we are having those issues. Okay, I thought then, why don't we add a subsurf? Subdivision surface adds more geometry, commonly called subsurf. Awesome. No, not really. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So if we go to this and just pump up the levels, you can see we're getting those nice squares. I think we should go even higher. And now the shading is perfect. Like, look at this. It is gradually getting this brighter color. So it should be fine, right? Right? But once we go to render view, something is awfully wrong. Actually, probably should decrease the amount of beveling. Well, that looks terrible. I'll just subsurf it. No, you know what? I actually do it the other way. I'll add another subsurf afterwards. Yeah, I think it is what I want. Probably can bevel it, the cube itself, like the geometry, the actual geometry, to get a better result. Because I don't like the corners though. And let's switch off the bevel modifier for a moment, and all this crap as well. We don't need it for the time. Command B for bevel. Yeah, I think that slight bevel will work best, honestly. So yeah, I think that we are good. I'll just... Yeah, good. I think that we have sorted the shading issues once and for all, but it looks off. Look at that. I mean, this reflection should be as wide as this thing because it's hitting the light like this. And it looks just too large. And this is because our HDR is infinitely big. So this means that if we are here where the camera is, the HDR is going to be the same as for this cube. Which is obviously not true in real world. Like you would have two very distinctive points of view if you were standing here rather than where the cube is in the gazebo. So what I tried to do, and actually it works, was creating a sphere which fakes the HDRI. It's not actually faking it per se, it's the actual HDRI image, and this is emission. Click the sphere and add a mapping node. I just don't want to mess up this one. That's why I'm adding an extra mapping node, so I can kind of, do my thing and not screw up everything else entirely. 180, isn't it? And there you have it. Now we are having a more correct kind of sphere, personal HDR for this cube. And you can already tell it's looking so much better. Like, look at this building and the reflection. And what's even better, we can actually scale the reflection now. There is a problem with this method, but I'll show you this in a moment. I'll bring back the shadow catcher. There it is. Yeah, I think it's pretty much correct. Well, the shadow catcher is obviously not there, but I think we can just tweak it slightly so that it fits correctly. No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, it's that Z-axis. Yeah. Yeah, baby, we are getting there indeed. All right, so if we go to camera view again, so we have a problem. Actually, it obscures the whole thing. But I think we can kind of fix it. Just go to switch to shadow catcher and disable camera. Well, it's not perfect because we are not getting the actual background. But I think it's all right. That's going to get us through. We want the orientation to be correct here. Let's see if it is. So we want the buildings to be there. And they are not. They are there. So we need to turn it like 90 degrees. Let's freaking do this. Plus 90 or minus 90, I think it is. Did we do it? We absolutely did. So now the buildings are where the camera is, aren't they? They are. So that's getting better. Well, yeah, unfortunately we are getting this wrong image, but I think what we can do, let's try this. Let's actually try this. How about we add another mapping node for a change and just turn it 180 degrees, and you'll see why in a moment. So what I want to do is set the sphere so that it is kind of the same as the background. Know what I mean? So if we go here and just, no, it's not scaling, G, Z, and just move it slightly so that the horizon fits. There you have it. And then we scale it like this so that it kind of looks the same. Let's see if it gets us anywhere. Just disable this stuff. Okay, so probably we are getting somewhere. I really want to see how large the reflection is, because this is, I think this is a definitive factor. The pillar size should be the same, exactly the same, because this is how mirrors work. This is how mirrors work. Now, I wish I had a better view, actually, you know. There it is. And there's our, well, we're getting this weird reflection thing here because of the shadow catcher. We really don't want this. So the way I'll set up this scene up is that the bottom will exactly reflect the shadow catcher. And this will exactly reflect the fake HDRI. There it is. So this is a pillar, right? Let's see. No, it's way too large, isn't it? So we just scale it down until it is correct. I think this looks about right. I wish I had a way to just get rid of this altogether so that it's not like transparent. This is annoying. Well, what I could do is I could just set a plane. So go to constraints and add object constraints, and here we pick wait, damn track, yeah, right. So we pick the camera and we just need to, all right. It doesn't matter much where the plane is unless it is just further, somewhere further. So Shift Z to push it away, scale it insanely, and we don't have to make it like perfectly aligned with the window of the camera, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so I need to just push it upwards. That's good enough. Scale it and push it somewhere sideways. No, that's all right. That's all right. I'll show you why. You just click new. You just click new material and image texture. Let's create an emission shader. Yeah, let's just go something like this. And for the image, we pick our fSpy image already. And then now the secret sauce. You just Command Shift T. No, wait, Command T it is. Command T with node wrangler enabled. And then you have the window. And look at this. It's the same thing. So, I mean, it's a different thing, obviously, but we still can see what we're doing, which is a good thing. All right, so the sphere, and we need to scale it down even further. I think it's... How about we actually... No, we cannot get rid of the shadow catcher, can we? I think we probably could get rid of it. So this is the shadow catcher. And... But honestly, I think the material is wrong for some reason. Yeah, it definitely is. All right, I reconstructed the shadow catcher material, but now we have this problem that the sphere is actually higher than it should be, so we just bring it down a tiny bit. This is looking sick. I'll just scale down the sphere a tiny bit more. And even more. Yeah, I think that it should be like really small. You know, I think that the center of the sphere should be right in the middle of the cube, because this is where the camera was. It's definitely not in the center, so I'll just move it like this, roughly. Right, I think it's killing it. Honestly, I'm so happy I tried this technique because I'm learning with you guys right now. And I think that this is looking sick. It's just so good. I can't get over it. It's not like I'm boasting. It's those things that all of you know. Like you're getting some inspiration for something, and then it just looks like shit. And then you're like, wait, can I try this? And it freaking works. And they're like, wow, this is so cool that you can actually do this. And you know what? The funny thing is, it's actually starting to look much better as a whole. So, I mean, composition-wise, I really dig it. By the way, I'm not even for those of you thinking that 3D graphics are only for people with beefy GPUs. I'm not using GPU at all. I'm using my CPU only because it's Macintosh and it just doesn't have support for metal, except for this kind of metal. Yeah, we should need to bring some roughness. I think what the cool thing we can do is just add some Musgrave thing, Musgrave texture. I already had one, but anyway, I'll add another one and control roughness. Well, this looks awful, but let's just do something about it. I'll just scale it up like this, and then we'll add a color ramp, and the color ramp will control exactly which sort of roughness are we getting. So it's we can remember that this is 0.4, and this is the extreme roughness that we really wanted. So if we go here and we change this, yeah, I think I'll increase the minimum one. I think I can totally do this. Something like this. Yeah, but we are still getting some variation, which is again really nice. As I said, if you're making primitives, you have to do something else in a more advanced way. Otherwise, it will just look bad and not fun at all. Now we need to do something about this shadow catcher thing. I think that the sphere actually needs to go somewhere where the shadow catcher is, because obviously I've put the actual camera in the very middle of the gazebo. I need to really turn it low a tiny bit so that again it reflects the thing. Yes, that's kind of cool. I don't know what's up with this reflection. I wonder what it is. It's actually the shadow catcher. Can I just get rid of it? I wonder. Just uncheck the glossy. Does it work? I bet it does, to be honest. Maybe I could just bring the sphere upwards slightly. Yes, that totally works. So yeah, the cool thing about it is you can tweak the reflection as what you want. You can rotate it, though I wouldn't recommend it because obviously you need to make it just realistic. And you can scale it. You can scale your reflections, which is really handy. Now this, I think that this is warped too much. I think we should just go to 1.5. Yes, and I think that it is too not shiny, if you know what I mean. Okay, so how about we go to 4. Yeah, I want to have that feeling of what we are actually reflecting. And I think that there's a way to enable the gizmos for rotation, which would be really, yeah, there is. Which would be really nice right now. I would go for local rotation because it will copy the object. The gizmo will be in the same position as the object. I want more trees. No, I don't want to lose the pillar though. Okay, I think this is the best we can do, honestly. Can we just maybe catch something interesting there? Yeah, we did, but the cube is now... I don't like the position of the cube. This is tough. Just fighting with technical issues like the HDRI thing is hard, but sometimes just creative things are even worse, honestly. Yeah, I dig it. I totally dig it. I think that this is good. I mean, it is. I wouldn't bother. Let's see the shadow catcher, though. That's really interesting to see. So we go to this and go to shadow catcher. Shadow catcher is nothing fancy. You know what? That's good. Those artifacts, those shadows, we don't want them, but I'll just erase them in Photoshop because it's just isn't worth the hassle to fix it right now in Blender, I think. And the shadow is really simple here in this case, so I don't see why I should really bother. If we go back to the combined view, I think I might just move it slightly backwards. That's Y axis. So we're getting more of this. Yeah, I think that's better. I think that's better. We could probably move the cube as well, slightly. Though it's a dangerous thing to do because reflections, you know. Oh wait, no, we're doing this in local orientation, so that definitely won't do us any good. Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that while you're moving, unlike with HDRIs, you can see that the reflection actually move. You know, I want to scale it up. Actually, I actually do. Now that I have such a nice reflection, sometimes just weird things happen, and then you have to apply the rotation. You press Command A and just choose which things you want to apply. In this case, I want to apply scale. All right, so I'll just scale it up a tiny bit, and then I'll apply a scale one more time. I think that 1.1 is the thing I'm going for. Is it? No, I think it's still too big. Okay, it's too big. 1.07. Yeah, it's slightly larger than it used to be, but, you know, not by much, actually. Maybe I could also just bring it up tiny notch. Well, that actually looks good. I'm freaking starting to dig it. I should just quickly, really rename the thing as preview plane. And, well, cube is a cube. That's good enough for me. This is shadow catcher. Now, it makes sense slightly more. I don't really want to have a preview plane in my render, so this goes away. Everything else, it's good. Now we go to this film tab, and here we click transparent. This will get rid of the HDRI in our render, which we want. We just want a transparent thing. Transparent render. That would be harder, actually, to put the cube down on the ground. So how about we actually try this? You know, just by doing this, I'm already like, yeah, how about we try something else? Okay, so we get rid of this. I'll just go to wireframe mode and just zero everything out. Okay, that actually looks good. And we need to intersect with the shadow catcher. Almost intersect, I should say. How the hell do we do this? We just go to wireframe, right? So there's our shadow catcher. That's good. That's perfect. All right. So this is what it looks like if we place the cube on the ground. So what do you think? Obviously, we need to work more on the shadow because now it looks like shit. But there's definitely something in it. I'll just place it in dead middle. We'll see. Yeah, the shadow should be much darker. I don't know. It's... No, you know what? As much as I would like to try to make this realistic and just compose it in Photoshop better and work with leaves, maybe add a leaf that kind of stuck here, it just looks worse. it looks boring. Also, the perspective looks wrong. I know the perspective is right. This is so... it just instantly looks better, you see? Partly because of the reflection that we're catching more sky here, but so I'll stick with the original option. I think that it's just better. I think I'll also just raise it a little. I think it's... How about this? I think that this is it. I really need to render it out. So I set it to EXR, or do I want to make it slightly smaller? I mean the goddamn sphere. All right, I think it's good. We're ready to render. We obviously don't need the whole image because the cube takes up rather small part of it. There's only a shadow catcher besides it. So I'll just select, with Command B, I selected the region of interest here, and we are ready to render. Let's do this. I like the material much. I think that the material is just really good. I like the beveling though. I'm happy that I did it in geometry. Especially those corners, they look really good. Probably the HDRI doesn't have too much resolution, but it looks all right, and I like the noise. You look at the noise; it just gives it something. Oh, snow is down. You know, SnowSwap. There's a token called SnowSwap. So I've invested in it, and now it's down to 3.74, and I bought it like 5. That's a bummer. Anyway, I hope those guys just get their shit together and the price will go up. Now, what I would like to do is I would open the original image. It hasn't been graded or anything, so we won't be doing this at this moment. The setup looks okay. It looks valid. So I dropped the image here. For some reason it didn't stick, but we can do this manually. And there we have it. So we have a few problems here, and the problem is with the HDRI actually, that it doesn't look the same way, like closely to what we are having here. And this is honestly barely fixable. Especially those pillars, they should be, definitely should be green, and even here they're like bluish gray, so you cannot really discern them from the sky, and that's definitely going to be a problem. We'll have to do something about it. So let's start with, I don't know, we should be starting with camera raw, I think. But I think I will just do this. No, I won't. Okay, filter camera raw. And let's do certain adjustments. We really need to increase saturation, like by a lot. Then I think we need to do something with temperature. Let's make it greener. I don't know. It depends on what you want to do. Like, I think that we should go and try to mimic the trees, because we can easily paint this, but it's not the same with trees. So I'll just cancel it out for a moment and just go here so that I can see how the trees look. Actually, the trees are kind of bluish as well. So maybe it's not too bad. Filter. Camera raw. Just increase the contrast. I drop the highlights. Yeah, the sky is uniform, so this is good. I think that this sort of... I really need to pump up the brightness and saturation. I mean, the vibrance and saturation, yeah. quite definitely. Temperature is way too low. It's almost neutral here, so we should be doing the same thing. Whites can go higher. Highlights, though, need to stay. Does it look good to you? Definitely too warm. Yep. All right, so blues. I don't know, it's just... Yeah, I think they're too saturated. What about this? Doesn't have any distinctive color here. Yeah, those are greens, which is exactly what we want. We do want greens, and we do want to increase them. Doesn't make much difference, honestly. Okay, I'll just click OK. You know, it's just easier to process by hand at this moment. Yeah, so we are getting something like this, and I freaking hate it. Sorry. Okay, so I'll just drop the curve somewhat, and I also will increase the highlights. I think we need to embrace those highlights. It's what was actually happening at this moment. And I think I need to really embrace them and, you know, just keep them. And we're getting somewhere. Look at this. It's already so much better. So what we want to do is to apply this color. And the easiest way is just to make this, pick this color with the eyedropper, press I for eyedropper, and make it more saturated because, well, this is not going to get you far. We'll create a new layer. So I'll increase the... I'll just paint it like this, like roughly. That's going to be fine. I'm doing this with my mouse. If you have a tablet, good for you. I do have a tablet, actually. But I won't be using this. Yeah. Nice one. I think that's actually good enough. Maybe. Yeah. So we are greening it. So we go to this and choose color. Obviously, this is slightly too extreme, so we just dial it with opacity until it looks correct. To my eye, this looks about right, but I think even less. Yeah, look at this. It makes a tiny difference, but it just sells it. And I like it. I think this works. Now, at this point, I think this cube thing is too... The sky color is off. We need to do something about it. So I'll go to curves again and try to fix it. That's blue for you. So it needs to be more yellow, I think. No, that's spoiling this part, which we don't want. The easiest way of doing this, I think, is to, just cancel it out for a moment. If we go to blue and then we pick this tool, then we pick this one, which we want to keep roughly where it is. And this, we do want to make it more yellow. And more green, I think, too. So again, this is fine. Well, actually, it is also benefiting from this. So that's good. Yeah. Like this, I think. That's too much. That we don't need anymore. I think that's now too purple. You can tweak it for a long time, trust me. But it is looking good at this moment. I think I'll keep it as is. I'll probably come back to it at some point. Again, I think it's too blue at this moment. Let's try bring blue down. I hate that it does this to the goddamn trees there, and this I don't want. I want just the highlights. Yeah, I think that's good. Honestly, I think it is. We need to save our work at this moment. I think that's a good idea. And yeah. Oh God. All right, let's just combine this whole thing into a smart object. That way we can do something with it all together. So we now are treating this as a whole because we want to grade it in a fun way, because this is not a proper grade. This sucks. So let's go to basic and see what we can do. The exposure looks correct. I think that this is, yeah. Oh yeah, increasing contrast kills it. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that bluish temperature fits this image much better. Yeah, I think we might. You know, the funny thing with exposure, it's almost always that you want to either drive it up or down, and it gives something creatively interesting. So shadows, I don't think we need shadows. I think we might decrease shadows and just get a more interesting look. We're still well within the range, so you can tell by this little triangle thing here. So if we go, yeah, we're starting to hit the wall, but we won't be doing this. Highlights, let's see what highlights do. Well, I don't know. It's just a different creative effect. This one kind of blows it out, but I think that this one looks slightly nicer when we can almost like barely discern the clouds. I like this. Yeah, texture. I think that again, this is a creative choice more than a technical choice. I don't know. Clarity. Just leave it as is. Nice. So, yeah, I think that a little saturation does this image good. Now, okay, I think that the most powerful thing that we can do here is to do the color mixer. But first, I think I'll go for vignetting so that I can instantly tell what I'm doing. Like, yeah, vignetting definitely gives it. Look at this. This was before, this is after. Already, it's just so much better. Also, this bluish color gives this really cold metallic look, which I love. So yeah, we can do some grading as well, but I'm not sure if it will do anything good to us. Let's just try to get the sky like yellower. Yeah, I dig it. I do dig it, but shadows need to go to blue then. I think it's getting too purple. So we need to get further from purple, like here. Yeah, it's subtle. It's more interesting, I think. Nice, I'll keep it as is. Okay, color grading. This is the fun part. So what I want to do is to bring out the colors we like and just hide the colors we dislike. I think that this saturated green, I don't know if it's good, but I think it is actually. So let's do something. I'll increase the saturations of yellows and oranges. I really want the autumn vibe to pop. Let's see. yeah, it gives it something. It does. Now, I hate the purples. I hate that it's purplish. It looks like chromatic aberrations to me, and I'll just get rid of this almost altogether. It's subtle, but it works. Now, then blues. I think that we might get rid of blues slightly. Okay, now luminance. Luminance again. Blues are normally what you want to make darker because it brings out the sky and just makes the image more contrasty. Purples, well, purples don't do much. Greens, yeah. Yellows, absolutely. Oranges, yeah, I like oranges and apples as well. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. And I'm not sure about this, like not 100% sure, but I think it's a good thing that the cube is actually kind of hiding within this image. That it's not like obviously there. It's almost like you're looking at a landscape photo, like somebody went to a park and just did this landscape photo. Oh, there's a nice autumn thing, isn't there? And then what the hell is this? Is this real? Is it like hanging from string or something? No, it's just ought to be CG. Something like this, that kind of effect. By the way, the thing that I didn't do, and I will go to the original image comp to fix this, is you can tell that there's a fair amount of noise here, and I really need to do the same thing for our virtual cube. So just add noise. I think that the size is wrong. Like, look at this. It's just larger. So it's easy to do noise manually. I think that you need to create clipping mask, as far as I remember. Is this the correct thing to do? So Command A, fill with 50% gray. And yeah, absolutely. Now the mask only affects the cube. I think we should totally do this to the green thing as well. Okay, so now we add noise. And we'll make it more extreme. We'll turn it down later. And then we filter and add Gaussian blue. No, that's not right. How the hell do I zoom though? Can why can't I zoom? Okay. So I think that looks about right. So by blurring it, I'm kind of making those grains bigger, which is exactly what we want. Now we overlay it, and this is way too extreme. I'll just turn it to 1-2%, and I'll see where it gets us. I really need to get a new camera. It starts to show its age. Yeah, I think this is the grain. Look at this. That looks correct. Saving it, and let's go back to the perf3 render. Wow, that looks stunning. I freaking love it. I think I could add some chromatic aberrations here, maybe just to add more life to it. But then again, I've got rid of all of the chromatic aberrations here, so why would I? Wow. I think that's basically it. This is the image that we want. Well, no, hold on. We need to get rid of this. That's ugly. I cannot do the content where I feel, can I? Okay, I'll just create a new layer. Right. Totally not taken from here. It makes no sense. Yeah, it's good. I mean, in Photoshop, oftentimes you just do something rough, like here, like it's good enough. Nobody will be looking at this. Nobody will be pixel picking here, really. And you just click OK. And what you're doing next is you just want to make it slightly more precise. Just do this precise shape of this ugly thing like this. And select the mask and just feather it out slightly. Maybe expand it a tiny notch. And then you just apply it as a mask. And yeah, it's almost good. I think I'll just pick some random thing from here and just add some as a clone stamp. Just to, blend it slightly better. Actually, I should check my reference. Yeah, I'm just doing it too extreme. Let me start over again. I'll just, wipe it slightly here because this is good. But I need it here, definitely. Oh, I'm erasing the wrong layer, obviously. Well, of course I am. Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect, in my opinion, because you can just do this for a long time, but afterwards, it's just nobody looks there, so, This is the composite. I think that's good. I think that's solid. Maybe I can play with framing. Maybe I really like the 4x5, like the Instagram maximum format. I think that it just collects your attention. Does it work here? That's the question. Nah, it makes it claustrophobic. Right, so I'm going to upload this to OpenSea, and thank you all for watching. I don't know whether anybody actually finished watching this, and if you did, well, thanks. And I'll see you again next time I'm going to create something. Bye. So, all right, I have actually have an addendum. I realized that those pillars might actually have a reflection of them because the cube is so shiny. It might just reflect the light back into the bloody pillar of the gazebo. So what do we do about this? Well, I think that I'll just get rid of the fake HDR for a moment. So I decided to recreate those pillars in 3D space. Now I'll quickly compare the size of the pillars I created and the actual size of the... Yeah, it looks close enough to me. I mean, I might pixel peak, but I won't. I don't think that's needed. So combining them, yeah, it looks all right. I think the pillar might be even larger than it is, but to me it looks right. I mean, if making it larger looked wrong, I can remember this. So this one goes here. So what I'll do now is I'll change this to the very same material that the cube has. Let's see. And we'll see if it actually reflects it. And I can definitely tell it doesn't. Okay, so what I need to do is to make those, actually, this is the correct size. Those are way too large. So I'll go I'll just copy and paste. I think there's a better way of doing this. I think there's a secret handshake in Blender to just copy attributes, but I can't remember it, and I can't be bothered, honestly. So the pillars are slightly off, which is concerning, but I think I'll just put them somewhere. It doesn't have really, I mean, we're not like architects. We're not trying to recreate the goddamn thing. We are, though, trying to make a piece that looks good. So this is exactly what I'm trying to achieve. So I don't think those pillars are going to reflect anything. You know what? I'll actually change this material to something like this. And look at that. I actually are getting a fucking reflection. So we need to fix that. And I won't be re-rendering this because I can't be bothered, really. I could probably do some kind of overlay thing, you know, just render this part and, you know, try something else. But no, this I can't be bothered. I'll just try to do something like this. So this is roughly where the thing is. Hold on. I'll just, you know, that this is somewhere here. You know, there's a kind of loop. And here, oh shit. You know, Photoshop brings the hand when you press space. That's a tip for you. And in Blender, space launches playback, and I get into this trap all the time. God damn it. And it just ends here, almost where the banister is. All right, so I think that's good. And I'll just create a new layer, and I'll create a sort of, I'll quickly create a mask. So yeah, I think that's good. Now I'll select, try object select. Let's see. No, it fails. Then I'll just, you know, I'll go for something, a quick selection probably. Does it work? Nah. Oh, you know what? I have to click another layer. I'm being silly. I'm sorry about that, guys. This is too much. No, just, that looks terrible. I mean, if you have to refine it, it's not worth it. You can just go with the polygonal lasso. I don't know why the normal lasso is the default, because polygonal is obviously much more useful. Maybe it's for people who are using tablets. It might be. So the reflection only goes here, right? So it goes on this edge. And I think that's good enough. I'll get an extra bit, and I'll go just slightly lower. I think that's good, and I'll actually, you know what? I'll delete this bloody mask and then create a new one. So now what we are going to be doing is just going to paint this white. I'm sorry for the, oh shit, I'm painting the mask. I'm sorry for, you know, Rolling Stones fans, but hey. Oh, you know, I'm painting green, for instance, for some reason, and maybe, just maybe, it's going to be better. You know, I'll go and tweak this color until it's more like the pillar. I think this is good. So now I'll lighten this thing and drop opacity way low so that it kind of has this slight glint. Okay, and saturation obviously needs to go lower. That looks good to me. But of course, I mean, it's way too noticeable. So I just Gaussian blur that's a bit. You know, I like it. Yeah, and now we have that tiny glint. It's barely noticeable even, but it is there. I think it needs to be less saturated, honestly. It's just way too saturated. Maybe it should just... That's freaking awesome. I'll erase this too. It's just way too, I don't know. This is a really soft brush, and so I'm just, you know, doing this with edges. Yeah, and now we have that reflection here going, and I think that's more realistic. It looks weird at this moment, but hey, it's, you know, that looks really good. So this is my addendum. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, just I encourage you to not, you know, hang on your works, not just try to perfecting them. I think that you need to get your work out there. It's more important than making things perfect. But at the same time, it's a good idea to come back once in a while and just look at this and say, you know, I don't like the sky. It's just too white. Actually, I do like the sky, because if you look at this, the cube is kind of lost in this, and this is the whole idea, that those objects are trying to mimic the world, and they can never do this, and they're kind of lost in this kind of universe. This is the whole idea, so I'm cool with this. Otherwise, I think I have nothing I would change in this image. I think it's good to go on OpenSea. Thanks for staying for the addendum, guys. And actually, thanks for staying for the addendum, guys. And actually, I'll be doing another perfection. There will be really cool challenges, but I'll be skipping a lot of stuff. So it will be, hopefully it will be much shorter than this one. Thanks and bye. Oh, hey everyone, that's an addendum to an addendum. That's right. Of course, I decided to do something else, and I'm going to cover this real quick. So the thing I've done, I've just done for you with the reflection, I actually placed it here into the smart object without grading, because it makes more sense. Where the hell is it though? Yeah, there it is. That's layer 3 for you. And also, I decided that this pillar just looks too dark. I think this is the matching thing. I really needed to match it better, but I think it looks better. And there is still a slight difference between how it looks without grade and with grade. And I think that this matches all right. And so it's on OpenSea. Yeah, baby. So if you come across it, bid something, because the starting price is really low. Thanks for watching, and I'm amazed that you actually stayed this long, and I'm humbled by your attention. Thank you. Bye.